2, 1, and we're live. Whenever you are, wherever you are, welcome to the Design of Everyday People stream, where I talk to senior designers from all over the world and where you get to literally ask them anything. I'll try and weave your questions in the conversation. So just drop anything in the chat box. And again, we're trying to make this as interactive as possible. So first, why don't you tell me where you're tuning in from? It's just past midnight in Vietnam. So it'd be interested if there's any other, night owls joining me on the Asian side of the world. But before we start, I want to talk about something real quick. Every year, I do a thing called the year's best deal. And this year, it's no different. But it's instead of 40% discount that we did last year for just 10 days of the holidays, it's for the whole entire month of November. So you can get 50% off UX Playbook. And check it out at uxplaybook.org. I'm not going to plug it too much because I want to get into our conversation. So let's roll the intro. This is the design of everyday people.
It sound right, boy.
All right, so let's quickly start with some introductions. Welcome to How Designers Create. And I'm Chris, the founder of UX Playbook, which I told you about earlier. We'll just skip that for all the regular listeners, but that's enough about me. Today, I'm joined by Tommy Geoco, designer, founder, and your favorite creator's favorite creator. At least he's one of my favorite creators. So let's get him out here and see how Tommy's doing. What's going on, Tommy? How's it going?
Hey, dude, what's going on? Oh my God, man. I don't know if everyone knows this, but you were doing this right now and it's like midnight for you. That is some crazy dedication. Thanks for that.
Yeah, all good, man. All good. So for the folks who don't know you, dude, like, tell us who you are. Like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? What's on the mind these days?
That's a weird question for me because I don't really know how to relate it. But I these days I'm trying to become something of like a documentary maker, and I don't know what I'm doing. We just launched our second episode today following 𝗧𝘀𝘁𝗿𝘆, and my whole thing is I just really get excited about the way not just designers and not just software people, but just creative people across disciplines bring things to life. And there's so much, there's a lot of cynicism, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there, noise really. And so I said, well, you know what would be really cool in response to that is to just no biases, just go into these really talented teams, studios, people, and watch them for 48 hours with stick a camera in their face and say, hey, how are you bringing cool stuff to life? And then see what comes of it. And that's kind of been the last 7 months now. And it's been a season of learning for me in a lot of ways.
What's the genesis of this idea? When were you like, all right, I need to find the coolest people in our industry and follow them around? Like, how did that shape up?
I think in 2023, I was starting to feel this way. I was doing a lot of the influencer social media stuff, and I really was getting a little bored, and I didn't feel like I was contributing to anything. I was doing the course boy thing, and I love online education. I think it gets a bad rap for valid reasons sometimes, but I started to ask myself, well, if I've got all this attention, what's the point? How am I actually creating GDP? And so I have thoughts on that. But then additionally, what actually can I do that I feel like is going to be helpful to people? And I don't know. I still don't really know what the answer is. But what I do know is I started creating these short videos, and I would spotlight really cool people who were designing things, typically people who are doing actually working right now, who don't have time to play the social media game. But those of us who have built audiences, we do know that if you have eyeballs and you put things in front of those eyeballs, it leads to, good outcomes typically. And so when I started just sharing hey, look at this dope designer, or look at this really cool project, two things happened. One, the people whose stuff I was showing, they'd hit me up and be like, hey man, I really appreciate that. It actually I saw a bump in sales, or I got, reached out to for a job. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then the people who were viewing it were like, hey, thanks for putting us on game. that's really awesome. And I was like, this actually feels this is like a good synergy. I don't have to like promote myself. I can just shine the spotlight on these people. And then the question became, well, how can I do that like in a really interesting way? Like continue to spotlight people who don't have a voice, but then the people that we know about, or like work that happens behind closed doors, like how does that work unfold? Taste is, you know, because the docu-series is called This Is Taste. And I go back and forth if that's a good title or not, because taste is a topic is kind of, we're already, you know, rolling our eyes at it. But I do think there's still something there. Like pretend you're not online and you don't hear the conversation. I think it's a fair thing to say, okay, great. Taste is important. So what? What does it actually mean when someone who has good taste employs it to bring something cool to life? And my kind of hypothesis to that was it's never perfect. It's probably always messy. There's probably friction. And many of us who romanticize what good taste means, and we follow these people who are like, oh, look at how great their taste is. I was like, there's probably a grittier reality to it that would, one, make this idea of really cool work seem more accessible, and two, would lower the pretense. Like I love many of the favorite documentaries and series in our design industry, Abstract, Helvetica, you know, and there's been like some series that have tried to come out in recent years where if I put that stuff in front of my teenage children, they're not going to tune in. Like that's not interested, but they love to create things. They love to make things. And I'm like, why are the options for the budding creative, the mind that's trying to understand the world right now, why is there such like a gap between, hey, this media is for venture capitalists in Silicon Valley and here's Mr. Beast, you know? And I'm like, hold on, that seems backwards, or that seems underserved. And so my challenge, and I don't know if I'm doing a good job with this, my challenge is to find a middle ground where it's like, let's make creating things as media more accessible to, you know, I don't want to just say like teenagers, but like that's kind of like a litmus test for me. And what I will say is, for the first time, my teenagers actually do watch these YouTube shows that I've created front to back. And I'm like, that's a decent KPI, you know?
Nice. I like that. So yeah, you mentioned, I want to flash it on screen because I have it here, man. The new episode 2 just dropped like literally an hour, 2 hours ago. So if you want to check it, scan the QR code, takes you straight to YouTube, or you can watch it later on Tommy's YouTube. But talking about this specific episode, because this was meant to be episode 1.
Yeah.
The one that you did, right? So
we filmed this in the end of May, I think, or the beginning of June.
Oh,
so
wow.
This has been like, it's been a while since we shot this. In fact, Soren's whole team, they've moved offices since then. The team has grown. So it's kind of cool. We got to capture this like moment in time origin story of the Iverson agency starting to truly thrive.
Yeah. So why did it take so long or that much time to come out? Because Rid's episode was episode 1. Not throwing stones here. Just saying, like, what was the process behind that? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah. Well, my reaction to that is more about, it has been a process, you know, like I have a problem, and sometimes this is a really good trait and other times it's a really challenging trait, which is I get an idea and I just go, right? And when I get really excited, that it's easy to go. And then when the excitement wanes away, I start the like 10,000 foot march. But that's when you really start to uncover what is tricky. I've worked as a PA in the film industry when I was 18. I'm going to be 39 next month, or in January. And so like, I don't really have a point of reference on how to run an actual film crew, how to direct, right? Making a short form video ain't shit. Like going on location and trying to put a vision together over the course of days. There's a lot of logistics that goes into it, but then there's vision execution, and then there's post-production. But then there's also writing. And, you know, a lot of people go into like a film and you typically will have your script. I don't do it that way. and I wasn't sure if that, I don't know the right way to do this. I didn't read books. I didn't watch YouTube. I was just like, I'm going to go do it. And it cost me my personal money. I had a little bit of money that I was like, I'm going to put this into it. And I burned a lot of money because a lot of that was spent learning. But I didn't really, I knew what I wanted the show to cover, but I didn't actually know what I wanted it to be. So we shot Soren's episode, and then immediately, and we kind of batch shot. So we went to Soren, and then we went to Perplexity. And then I had Rid scheduled about a week after Perplexity. But when I got home from Perplexity, Colin and Samir were about to take off to host their first New York Creator Summit. And I'm a big fan of Colin and Samir. Their story is super cool. And I just like, I got home, I'm disheveled, and I just make a video and I post it on Twitter and I say, hey, Colin and Samir, it would be cool to follow you guys for 48 hours. Their event was happening in like 4 days. And I was like, they're not going to say yes. And I was kind of on this high, like, oh, I'm making things happen. Like I can do this. And the worst possible thing that could have happened. They said yes in an hour. And then I realized, oh, I actually have to solve this problem now, which was finding a crew, finding the capital. It was like a holiday weekend. There was a number of problems, and we had to get out to New York, an entire crew. We had to get out to New York in 2 days. We had to get a hotel. We had to coordinate with them. Our shoots have been 2 days long. They're 48 hours. This was a 3-day long shoot from like 3 a.m. to 2 a.m. Like we didn't sleep for almost 3 days. It was not a fun time. I made a vlog about this. It's going to be probably one of the most rewarding stories that we get to tell. It's coming out next month. But I didn't have fun doing it. I'm having fun writing it now. And so we had all those things kind of add up. And then I got home after Rid. So Colin and Samir happens, and then we immediately fly from New York to Kalamazoo, Michigan to go shoot Rid. And then I get home and I just drop and I'm dead and I sleep. My newborn daughter had just been born about a month prior. And so my partner's at home. She's like taking care of all this. She's being the most incredible support system. She's like, you have to do this. But I mean, it's taking a toll on us. So I'm chilling. And then I sit down and I start writing the episodes, because unlike a, pre-scripted show, a documentary, for me, it's like I'm trying to find the truth in what we see. So it's like we kind of set up a situation where it's like, okay, beforehand, hey, what are you working on? Is there something we can follow you working on? So we at least know a little bit of our bounds. But other than that, we just have to have cameras. I tell my crew, I'm like, hey, if you miss a shot, then you miss a shot. We're not going to produce anything. We're not going to fake anything. But don't fucking miss a shot. Like, and I tell them that, and I mean it. And it's challenging, because it's like we really want to capture like the raw of what's happening. And then we come back home, and then the editing team starts to de-rush the film into things that make sense. And then I sit down and I just watch it for days, and I write and I take notes and I write and I write, and then I rewrite and I rewrite. And so Soren's episode started as kind of like a fun time, a good episode, memes. But it wasn't there yet. I didn't know what I wanted it to be. But when I got back from Rid, I had genuinely like a spiritual experience with him, because it just of who he is, who his family was. I think the weight of the entire venture was really starting to weigh on me, and it was changing how I think about a lot of things in life and creation and everything. And so I was like, you know what, Rid's episode is speaking to me. Let me write that. And when I wrote Rid's episode, I realized I have something I really want to say in each of these episodes. I want to showcase the people, the humans, the work. And I want there to be an undertone of the perspective that I walked away with. And then I said, wow, that's what I'm going to do with every episode. It's going to be about the people, the work, but whatever theme is there, I'm going to really try to say something that I see. Right. And so I went back and I rewrote Soren's after that. And for me, Soren's episode was really about how this incredible, I call him the Weird Al of tech, because he's this absurdist who came out and memed technology products all the way up to a $1 million design agency working with the biggest brands in the world. But the thing about him was, it really showed me, there's a level of intentionality that you'll learn how Soren and his team run. And you kind of contrast that with what I almost consider a little bit of internet cultural decay happening today, right? Memes used to really have a lifespan, but now there's so much hyper information you know, memes are losing meaning, or we are being desensitized to actually, like, media literacy is like nosediving, and memes are kind of they're kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They're a little pocket of what I think everything is happening, right? When you think about surrealism led into absurdism, memes are just digital absurdism. And I think there's a lot to unpack in that. So that's what we talk about there.
Amazing, man. And so what, apart from having your kids watch the entire episode in one sitting, what else are you trying to do with telling stories? Or how important is it to you that like where do you want your stories to go, like after you've said, hey, the work is important, the human is important, the process is important of how they or what they're trying to do? How important is like, I guess, or let me phrase this better, which is
microcosm. Sorry,
microcosm.
that was the word I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah. Stories. Where do you want these stories to go, or what do you hope to achieve with these stories? Is there something you're thinking about, or are you just playing?
I'm playing right now, directionally, right? Like, I'm approximating in a direction, which is, I think, most of what my entire career has been. I know where I would like to go. Yeah, like, I need to figure out how these things make enough money to allow us to keep making these stories. Is it a fine enough mission in life to just make things that inspire people? I don't know. I feel like sometimes that sounds a little woo-woo. And other times, but then I look at, like, one of the things I have to do, because I get extremely insecure on launch days, I get nauseous because I'm like, everything I just made sucks. People are going to shit on it. It's not going to convey the thing. The person that I filmed is going to hate it. I don't do well with that. And I just have to, like, press publish.
Dude,
you know?
you texted me on a launch day when you launched on, I think, Gumroad. I think
Okay.
you're like,
oh, my first book. Yeah.
Yeah. That was also, I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you had nothing to worry about. But yeah, okay, so that still happens.
Well, and so, like, the whole thing for me is just figuring out how to make the puzzle pieces work so we can continue to do it. What I would love to do. So what's happening right now is the logistics I have to solve for are, here's a list of people who inspire me. Now, there's a problem there. Most of those people look like me. And I'm realizing, like, when I have the ability, there's stories out there that deserve to be told. But first and foremost, I don't care. I mostly want to follow the people who inspire the hell out of me. I want to go watch Hideo Kojima bring a game to life. You know, I want to go watch Critical Role bring one of their stories or sessions to life. I want to get through some of the things that excite me. Also, I can only fly a crew stateside. I can't go overseas yet. And even stateside, I'm kind of limited because this stuff is not cheap. So we'll get there. So we'll solve that problem. But in an ideal world, I would love to just, not just for software, anybody doing anything that's really noteworthy, like really dope work. And there's a lot of people who think they're doing dope work, and I could find a story in anything. But right now, I want to demystify people who are at the top of their game, because I want people to think and feel like they can do that too, right? We always put people on pedestals, whether you're an influencer because you have a high follower count, or whether you're Jony Ive because you've done all these great things. And it's like, it's almost a black box. Like, oh man, they were here, a bunch of shit happened, and now they're here. And it's like, no. But, like, the stuff that happened here, and I could be wrong, like, maybe there are some just incredible muses and people out there who just, like, make things happen and it's magic. But I don't think the black box of how this happens is really that different from how we create really shitty stuff too. I just think there's probably a couple of levers that are different, and I want to look at those. I want to find them. And in trying to do that, I think I'm just learning a lot about myself and about the world.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't answer your question, but that's where I want it to go. I need to make money eventually. So we'll see. We'll see when that starts to happen. I'll let you know.
So the series is This Is Taste. What have you learned about taste by watching these people, these madmen, these people just kind of at their creative top of their game? What have you learned from these folks that you're like, oh, I need to do that too? I'm sure a lot of things, but on the top of your head.
Four things like stand out. It's almost like a pattern I'm seeing right now is one, because all these people are top of their game, like extremely talented people that anyone who sees them would be like, wow, I really respect how they do this or that.
Yeah.
Everybody is genuinely kind. And I don't mean nice, right? I do not mean nice. I mean, they're kind. They don't lie to people. They'll tell you what you need to hear out of your benefit, not their own. Very kind people. And they look out for each other. You know, they support each other. They support me. They support whoever's in their orbit. And it's a weird thing because like when you start to see people who are kind, not nice, I think there's a lot to distill from that. The other thing is a lot of people are really fast. It has completely changed my opinion about this idea that like price, speed, and cost pick two. Sure, I guess. None of these guys are doing that though. They're doing all three. You know, I mean, like that's a little bit more agency vibe, but like quality and speed. And I don't just mean like pretty good quality. I mean like the top end of quality and probably faster than you've seen are happening simultaneously. And that's like a head scratcher to me because I'm like, no, that's not supposed to be real. But for the top teams, it is. And so like, I'm still kind of dissecting what that means. There's a lot of trust on these teams. There's a lot of trust on those teams. It's another thing that's really stood out, like respect, trust, kindness. And then there was, I think, one more there. The number one way to build taste, this is not novel, but it really reinforces just how important input gathering is. And I don't just mean like user research, but I just mean like consumption, like really strategic consumption of a lot of ideas, of even things that like seemingly have nothing to do with what you're trying to create. Consumption seems to be something a lot of these people are obsessed with in a way that's like really valuable to them.
Have you found like an obsessive trait with the folks working on these? The way they're sprinting super fast, but the quality is great. Is there a level of healthy/unhealthy obsession? Have you found that, or is that just depending on who you're talking to that day?
I'm expecting to get backlash on this eventually because I'm not trying to force a narrative in these stories. I'm just like showing you what is unraveling in front of me.
Right.
And no one that I've followed so far has a work-life balance. No one, people, but they have families, they have all kinds of stuff. No one has work-life balance, but they love it. They're not like dying inside. And many of them have been in that situation where they calculated how to do work-life balance, or they over-indexed on work and then it burnt them out and they had a really dark period. And I've had that too. But whether it's like the Perplexity design team, or it's, you know, Colin and Samir, or you know, Soren or Rid or whoever, there's no work-life balance. Like it's like these people are really passionate. They're kind of mission driven and they're just getting it done. You know, and they love it. They like really enjoy it. They're not like grueling over it. Like, oh man, like they really enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah, got it. Josh, what's up? He had a question. I believe you kind of touched on this, which is what's the difference between kind and nice? Anything you want to add there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's this, Josh, if you send me a video you make, you know, or a speech, some sort of presentation you're giving, you're like, hey, any feedback? If I'm being nice, like let's say I think, man, your presentation could have been better for one reason or another. If I was nice, I'd be like, it's great, man. Like, heck yeah, go get it, which is fine. Yeah. Kindness, though, would be me like, hey, this could have been better. That thing didn't seem to work out. And it's really about where it's coming from. Like if I'm just critiquing you because I'm some random on the internet who wants to throw tomatoes at people who make stuff, that's not kind. But as a friend, if I'm like, hey, these things kind of suck, and this is what I would do based on my experience, and I mean that from a place of like genuinely wanting to see you get better, that's kind. That is kindness.
So we were talking about like taste, and you mentioned like consumptions of ideas that are outside maybe our design, like realm of expertise, or things that typically people you know, consume. Are there where is a weird place that you found ideas that you're like, huh, that would be kind of cool, or like, could this be part of the story somehow, or like any like kind of stories or anecdotes there?
You know, I can give you examples of stuff we've seen, how the people we follow find that stuff. But I'll tell you, for me personally, Dungeons and Dragons, I'm a dungeon master, a game master. I run sessions. I run a lot. Like, I'm probably more obsessed with D&D than I am with my ventures. And I mean, I've posters all over the place for it. And huge parallels that I pull from Dungeons and Dragons all the time, whether it's into filmmaking or it's design or software or like interpersonal relationships. There's a lot to be parallels, because as a game master, you have to do a lot of structured prep. And then you also have to be prepared to improv on top of it. And I think just even in that by itself, your prep work, the tools you use for your prep work, the way you organize information in the tools you're using for your prep work it's like a PRD, or it's a call sheet, or it's a script for your film. It's like exactly one for one. And I use Notion. I use these software development tools for my D&D planning. But then on the improv side, you're like collaborating with 5-6 other people at the table. And so you look at that and you say, well, how do I make sure everybody at this table is having a good time? And also, you know, within the constraints of where this story is approximating. And so that's the same thing as collaborating on a software team. We are trying to go in a direction. They have an idea that might contradict this idea. So I need to weave that in a way that makes them have fun, but also adheres to, you know, the 3 or 4 directions I'm trying to take this story. So there's so much to be had in that alone.
Yeah, it sounds like D&D has made you a better human to work with. True or false?
I think I'm a pain in the ass to work with. I have a vision, but I hope so. I think I'm a pretty good game master, and I think I think my team knows that when I push back on an idea, it's like I really like it, and then I know when to be like, hey, actually, I'm going to let that go, because you know, like one of the things that really stands out to me is I try to get a feel for energy in collaborations. And when you can kind of tell when something is important to someone, it's really hard when someone's like super stoic all the time. Right. It's easy because you feel like, oh, this person's easy to work with. But I like the people who do have their own ideas. And they really like they have this like vigor to do something with it. And so you have to really like weigh the energy in the room. I have a level of energy, a level of give a shit for this idea, but so do they. And you kind of, as you talk through the idea, you start to see who's a little more passionate about this thing. And if it's not like a critical thing, I really like to, oh, you're really passionate about this. Hey, let's do it. You know, that to me is a lot of fun, but you have to kind of like tap into the wave. I don't know what to call it, you know, the energy in the room. Yeah.
Yeah. You also have this pod that I think State of Play, right? And so I want us to define what does play mean to you, what like in your work, like what does that mean?
I heard a really great way to phrase this idea, and I wish I could remember who to attribute it to, but it's like some people think to create. But then some people create to think. And when I heard that, I was like, there's never been a better, more simple way to explain how I live. I create to think. It is how I learn about myself. It is how I expand my worldview. It's how I learn what I love, and it's how I learn what I don't like and agree with. It's how like real meaningful philosophical evolvements happen for me, you know? So when I think of play, you know, I have a lot of short form videos. I'm like, use the tools, try this thing, do that. Because yeah, I totally agree that right now is one of the most interesting times to just be playing on the internet again. And so if you're a designer, which is largely the people who follow me, there's a lot of benefit in that. But like that goes so much further than just like, I'm going to open a software tool today. It's like, look at Andy Allen. He's playing with Lego. He's 3D printing cameras to build a camera app. That's real play coming from a real place of curiosity. It's not performative, and it's not lazy play. And I don't know if I should judge play. That might be a bad thing to consider something lazy play, but like the idea that sometimes I feel like people are like, oh, I'm told I'm supposed to play. I'm going to open Framer and I made my portfolio and Framer sucks. It's like, okay, I'm not convinced that type of play came from a place of curiosity. Maybe you had a bias that you were just trying to validate, or maybe you just really weren't that into it, like you thought you might be. find play that you're into. Get some figurines and start painting some stuff. Go outside and, Devin Matthews, who comes from Buck, an LA-based design studio, started a YouTube channel, and he kind of did just that. Every episode was him exploring, rediscovering his creativity again through these like really interesting videos. He'd go out he forced himself to go camping, and with no technology other than the camera he was using to film himself, he forced himself to create things with just rocks and sticks and stuff, and like that's real play born from a place of curiosity. That's what I mean when I say play.
Gotcha. Are you thoughts about collaborating with him, telling a story of how he plays?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. We have a lot of. I'm not going to spoil too much yet. We have, we were thinking about this is taste in seasons, and technically season 1 is pretty much filmed. We have 2 more shoots coming up. We only have 2 episodes out, but the knocks on the door for like, hey, do you want to come follow us? And then the people I've been able to reach out to who, thank God, take me somewhat seriously, has been really, really cool. And probably not far from now, I'm going to announce some really cool collaborations coming up.
Okay. So we'll save that. Any exclusive drops right now, or should we save that for later?
Yeah, 𝗧𝘀𝘀, I cannot wait. They're one of my favorite design studios. And listen, I'm doing a bad job if I want to get out of only covering design and software. Not doing a great job of it just yet, but there's a lot that I want to explore in software and design before I branch much further out. We're doing some other folks and teams too, but 𝗧𝘀𝘀 is like, I'm stoked for. So we're going out there in February. Yeah, that's going to be a good episode. Yeah.
And they're so good. I mean, they've just done so many brands and knocked it out of the park. The most recent Superhuman AI is just so good. And of course their Perplexity logo. Oh man, just amazing. So okay. This is more of a selfish question.
Okay.
Which is like, we've been creating content online for a minute now. And you said you had this moment where you're like, okay, I need to do something different. I want to like be a net positive to the internet. What brought on that transition, and like what were the first steps? Like you said, you think to create. So I guess selfishly, context is, I think I'm finding myself at that moment as well. So what did you do to get out of your slump, should we say? And how did you become more excited about this media landscape?
I didn't become a designer because I wanted to become a designer. Like I never was like, I want to be a designer. I can't wait to learn all the things that designers do. Yeah. I wanted to make stuff. And so I was trying to code. And I wasn't great at it. I was good enough to ship really broken things. I was good enough to build a startup and sell it. But I kind of didn't like coding, because once you get past that first layer of like, I made the thing, now you got to debug the thing and you have to scale it. And that part is not interesting to me, But then the design field opened up. And then when I needed to go make money, which is always, I'm like, oh, I guess I'll box myself up. I'm a designer. Hire me. Look at all the things I do inside of this box of design. And so that's where I lived for many, many years. And as I was kind of in that space, I just heard all this drum beat. It was like, Mike Montero's like first speech in San Francisco back in 2010. Fuck you, pay me. And everyone was like, yeah, that sounds good. We need to fight everybody that we work with. And we need to become insufferable in our communities. And we need to advocate for everything and be the roadblock. And I was like, yeah, me too. Guys, we need design systems and accessibility, and we need to stand our ground. And I really ate that up from, during the golden age of kind of UX design. And then the more teams I was part of when I was in San Francisco after I'd sold my startup, the more really talented people I was coming across, where it was like, wait a second, if the company dies before you're able to achieve this expensive initiative that's good for the world, then the company dies and you don't get to that initiative. And if it's going to cost a whole bunch of resources to achieve that idealism up front, that's a big risk. And I was like, no one's really talking about that. And then other people would say, you can't move fast in these environments. You have to move slow and deliberately. And I do agree, you have to move deliberately. But slow is not true. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to start talking about my experience, which is you can move fast and intentionally towards ideal outcomes, but don't be insufferable while you do it, and have a little bit of patience. Like have a little bit of pragmatism as you walk through those steps. And apparently that resonated with a lot of people. So I talked about that. I made a course about, I did the whole thing. And then I kind of sat back and went, there, I got my message out. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to keep creating content because that's what I am now. And then I was like, no, fuck that. Like, this is not, I'm not that interested in continuing to be, I said what I had to say, you know? And then on top of that, things were really starting to change. And so, I had an existential crisis. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, do I want to do this? What's the point of having all this attention? And, I just kept creating other little ideas and exploring things that I thought were cool. So the cheap answer is like, I just tried my best to listen to the things that were interesting and curious, like inspiring curiosity for me. And so I was like, you know what? I don't know what that is, but I know that Lee Black is making some really dope work with Framer, and he's doing these like tactile analog things on digital canvas. So like, let me show people that because it's really cool to me. And then he had like a really positive experience when I shared his stuff. And I was like, oh, that made me feel really good. And everyone else seemed to like it and he liked it. Like that to me is a pretty good triangle. Let me continue to do that. And it was from kind of just that little simple place of first starting with being fed up. And I mean, I guess that's kind of been the trend here as I talk out loud. In my design career, it started from being fed up and then like instigating a curiosity and then like doing something about it. And then it cycled again. Then I got fed up and then I instigated the curiosity, you know, and just that seems to be the trend. So someone can write a LinkedIn post on that or something.
I'll take that. I'll take that task on, mate. Yeah. Dude, I've got some questions coming in. Can I just fire them quick and hot at you?
I will do my best to not be verbose.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. John says, what's your top 5 tools in your stack at the moment and why?
Notion, Framer, Cursor and Claude Code. I bounce between, but I love Cursor's agent mode right now. So that's kind of like the top. Okay. Did I say Notion? I said Notion.
Yep.
Tools that are like interesting though, like, you know, we discount our hardware, so I won't say that. So if I'm thinking just specifically software, let's look at my toolbar. You know, I do use Figma a little bit. Perplexity, I use the heck out of. Claude, like as a actual engine. I find like Claude's the most interesting. Anthropic is, I think, won the year. Every company that releases a new model, I'm kind of like disenfranchised with. But every time Anthropic releases a new model, I'm like, you know what? This really lived up for me. I love this. Opus 4.5 right now is doing some really cool stuff. So Notion, Linear, Perplexity, Cursor, Framer, and
I think that's 5. Wait, are you using frame.io for your video stuff? Or are you
yes, I hate it. I'm actually starting to adopt my buddy Flask.do.
Right. Yeah,
and it's a much better alternative. But we use Frame right now, but we're getting out of that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Another question.
By the way, my tool stack is changing like monthly. Like there are Notion sticks around, but some of those, like I'm slotting stuff in and out monthly. There's new tools that are coming out that do new, like it's a weird thing.
Okay. Is there? I mean, you're looking at them, you know, as you said, like, you know, monthly, weekly. What are some ones that are on your watch list that maybe you've tried, but it's not completely in the workflow yet?
Magic Path and Magic Patterns. I'm really interested in the Canvas AI experience, which is people are figuring it out. Pietro from Magic Path has some really cool ideas. Steven from Paper, I think Paper is really interesting, right? So I'm really looking at these like Magic Patterns, the way they consume your design system and then allow you to prompt against it. Like that's going to become table stakes eventually, but no one's got it nailed down yet. But I would say like those Magic Path and Magic Patterns are getting close.
Yeah. Have you tried is it Weave and Flora? where
yeah.
yeah,
I like those. So here's the thing. I'm not much of an like, I love AI. I use it for a lot of things, but I don't actually use AI a lot for like generative media. So it's
okay.
like I need to, and I think I'm going to do more of it for our D&D campaigns because I feel like I'm missing out on some of the really great breakthroughs there. But right now, I've played with them, but not meaningfully. So maybe that's a holiday project.
Yeah, sounds fun. Okay, we've got a question about strategy workshop. Speaking of collaboration, what is your process of going about doing strategy workshops, or do you even do them anymore? Strategy itself, like there are different processes out there. Strategy, yeah, like let's just say, do you do these kind of high level vision strategy workshops with your team internally, etc.?
I probably spend like a couple hours on this, like strategy. If I'm not generating throwaway work, I feel like I'm not thinking clearly. So I'll like pull up AI. We'll have our team in a Zoom. I'll record a granola, huge part of my stack. I should have added that. We'll record the conversation because we'll kind of like banter ideas around. And then I'll take that conversation, I'll plug it into Claude, I'll pull insights. I'll go over to Figma or FigJam and I'll pull moods in. Let's say I'm storyboarding an idea. I'll pull moods in and I'll kind of put them on a spectrum. As I'm building my app and I'm working with 𝗬𝘆𝘀𝘆𝘁𝗲𝗹𝗹𝗹𝗶 on our brand for the app, he and I go through a process like this. But every brand designer I've worked with, Nick Pattison, Fonz Mans, 𝗬𝘆𝘀𝘀𝘆𝘀𝘆𝘀𝘀𝑆, fast. It's fast. Like the strategy part is a really critical part, but it's also like, I used to do strategy when I worked kind of corporate design and be like a week or 2 weeks. We'd have to do these like long sprints of strategy. And it's like, man, that part can be done so much more quickly. And you get to like really high quality input gathering so that you can get into like, let's start generating real throwaway work now, because you learn a lot more there. But you do have to set the constraints and the goals up front. I just don't think you need to spend a ton of time on it. So It's not a very helpful question. I think in the context, I'm assuming where you're coming from is like in a big team environment. My team is 5 people, right? Like I don't have a huge company. And I value strategy, just not the way we used to do it in those larger orgs.
Right. Got a question from Nick here. How did your first steps look like moving away from active design work into the direction of making money with content tools or any other thing?
I think I had some client work on the side for a little bit. I think that was like 2022. Because I got laid off, right? Like I got laid off in 2021, 2022. I can't remember now. And it was like, okay, I like geared up, I dusted off my portfolio, and I had like some small experience creating some video on like TikTok or something. And I was like, you know, the creator economy was all the hype at the moment. And I was like, maybe I can make some money from this. I don't know what, but maybe I'll make a course and start a newsletter and do all the check boxes. And I called a friend and I said, hey, are you making money? Gary Simon, he's on YouTube. And he's like, yeah. And I said, cool. And so I was like, I'm going to do this. You know, I was looking at like the recruiter emails and the places that I was trying to respond to. And I was like, that gauntlet sounds awful. And then I looked at my bank account and my bank account had like maybe 15 grand in it. And I was like, well, that sucks too. So let me try to sprint towards exhausting that money while keeping it kind of replenished as I learn and go. So I took on a little bit of client work while I did it. And then eventually I just stopped doing client work and I just started designing my own products.
Awesome. All right. Wyatt says, would be interesting to get your take from the whole subreddit mess. What is it? r/UX design. What's been going there? Wyatt said he saw some crazy shit.
I'm allergic to cynicism. I am allergic to cynicism. And I am very confrontational when I meet cynics or like cynical mob mentality. All of the people that are part of a collective group that is like suffering together, because listen, I come from the Marine Corps. There was nothing I loved more than bitching about the day with my fellow Marines. I get it. But also move in a direction together and look for problem solving. What makes me, it's funny because I'm such a hypocrite. I hate cynicism and I get so cynical when I come across cynicism. I get so cynical about it. And so I made a post, I think on LinkedIn and I, you know, listen, I've got a lot of followers. I've done the influencer thing. Everybody is totally fair to fucking come at me and say, hey, like influencers are dumb. I'm tired of this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Totally agree. I don't like it either. But when I make that post, I'm not an inflammatory, like I don't post stuff for the clout, not like hot takes, right? Yeah. I meant what I said. Our UX design, you guys are miserable. And I hate watch you. I hate watch that subreddit because I'm genuinely, it helps me get a feel for the industry. There's a lot of people in there I think don't know that I run UX tools, like the annual design tool survey that you guys probably use to make your decisions. And it's helpful to me to understand what parts of the market are doing, because I have no clue. I don't work in design the way you guys do anymore. Me speaking to that subreddit group. Yeah. But I do want to like shake those people and be like, stop, get out of it. Go play, go try some stuff. Yeah, it's hard. Okay. Like, yes, things are difficult. All right. Now what are you going to do with that information? What are you going to do with that information? Let's go do something about it, you know? And to be fair, who is it? What's her name? Who runs and owns that subreddit is a wonderful human. And and here's the thing about the internet is like the internet's not a reflection of real life. Like it's not. And most of the time you see people that beef so hard, right? People who like the media literacy is so low. People don't know how to separate like a person from an idea. It's like attack the idea, not the person. No, you must attack the idea. I don't know what inference, and I don't know the difference between facts and inference. But the truth is when you beef with people online, you guys would probably get along in person. Like you'd probably be able to like squash certain differences, or you might even see eye to eye. A lot of these people I might see at the next config, and it's like we're gonna have a good time. We'll be able to talk about this stuff. But you get into this like collective anxiety, and then people kind of mob against an idea. Yeah, I call that out every time. And someone's feelings get hurt. You don't understand the plight. And it's like, the fuck I do. What are you talking about? Like, so anyway, I'll talk about that all day. I love going to that subreddit and treating it like a lolcow, not the individuals, right? Just the collective angst, like a lolcow. For anyone who doesn't know, a lolcow is basically something that based on its behavior, a person or group is comically just a comedy of errors. And it's kind of there for your amusement.
I mean, it sounds like your next show is kind of brewing, where it's like The Office, but for UX designers, and you can find the scripts and the ideas and the sentiment in that subreddit, which will be a pretty cool show. I'll watch
UX design drama is not good television. It is so mild, dude. It is like
you're right.
The nothing burgers that we get worked up about are not good television. Like it is not that interesting, but man, do we get worked up about it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Silicon Valley was definitely like the show.
That was fantastic. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Very over exaggerated, but they nailed the sentiment of working in tech. So if only we can do that with UX designers again,
like a design agency. Actually, there might be something there, like a design agency that is this super highbrow, pretentious agency, and the things they come up with are like the worst inventions in the world, and everybody's high-fiving, and other clients are like, yeah, and they're going to market with hype videos. Oh yeah, there's something there,
man. So you run UX tools. But tell me about your new venture of Internet Enjoyers. Like, where do you go with that, dude?
Yeah, Internet Enjoyers. I mean, really, it's just our media studio, Enjoyers Media. I think front facing, I'm calling it Internet Enjoyers. I want to create a brand out of that. Something that's like, if you're wearing like some Internet Enjoyers swag, like creative department, it's like, yeah, no, I'm chronically online in a really healthy, not a healthy way, but like I'm chronically online. I'm tapped into the zeitgeist. I see what's going on, and I like to create. Right? I want this idea of like, I enjoy the internet means I'm somebody who's not just a consumer. Like I create things on the internet. I don't care if it's software. I don't care if it's media. I create things on the internet. I love the internet. I was poor as shit growing up, man. If it weren't for the internet, I would still be in a really rough place. So I have a lot of love for the internet, warts and all.
And with Internet Enjoyers, are you planning on is it specifically media, or is everything going to roll into that, or how are you thinking about the structure or projects?
Right now it's media. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Like I've got an idea of like what I want this to be in 10 years, but that stuff never Again, it's really just like I'm approximating in a direction. The future is going to be one where, I mean, it's already here now for some of us. Like I'm building like a commercial tabletop RPG app, something that like probably isn't investable. It seems entirely like a hobby project because it is, and I'm spending like real coin to brand it, to bring it to life, to make it something that I can use at my table with my teams, and then maybe one day like it'll take off. But the truth is, as I'm going through all this media making, a lot of the tools, and I don't mean video editing tools, but I mean like pre-production, script writing, a lot of those tools are lacking. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to build one of these tools, aren't I? So that like that, it may go that direction. I have no idea. I'm just going to keep tinkering and making until I figure it out. In fact, 𝗧_Commons has this, judge it how you will, but I kind of like it because it feels like it defines me. And I like that I'm seen, which is this concept of -1, which is like somebody who is a creator of things who doesn't yet have product market fit. They don't even really have the idea yet, but they are so invested in an approximation that 𝗧_Commons is actually investing in what they call -1 founders. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I appreciate, I appreciate that that's how I feel, and that exists beyond just like me in this little hole.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really interesting. -1 founders. All right, I'll make a note of that.
It's a very Silicon Valley, like kind of a bullshit thing that you would hear coined up. But again, I like it because it speaks to me.
Yeah. Roger that. So someone asked, do you have any predictions for the future of product design, UX, UI? Like based on the teams you've been sort of filming, documenting, and chatting to, what are they doing that looks like a glimpse of the future?
I don't know if my predictions, like I use the annual design tool survey to tell those stories. I'm still kind of data driven to that regard because like I'm just some asshole on the internet. Like smarter people than I are wrong on their predictions. So like what the hell does my opinion mean? But what I'll tell you is I do see a lot of these teams using AI in a really collaborative way. And I'm really excited for the Perplexity episode because AI is a hot topic. It should be. And there's a lot of butting heads about how it's used as in a lot of different ways. And I think Perplexity is a really great example of a team that invests into people, gives a lot of agency to their people. And those people are just, as 𝗧 would call it, fussing around and finding out with AI tools. And they're using them in real production ways. But they're not just be like, hey, generate me a thing. They're like, no, like I generated a thing over here, and then I took it and I tweaked it and I did all this stuff to it. Then I put it in this other thing and I generated a tiny piece, like a hat on top of it. And then I tweak, and that's cool. Like that's a really interesting thing. And I think that's happening already, but I think it's just going to continue to be the case.
Yeah. Okay. I think this one's quite interesting. How would you go about building your own agency today with 0 clients? Have you thought about it? But
yeah, I've thought about it. I mean, like, listen, I recognize, because what's interesting is there's a lot of agencies out here. I think some designers who've never been into the game are like, yeah, I'm going to start an agency. I'm going to do design work. It's like, that's fine. Like I would start freelancing like that. I think that traditional path of freelancing is still the way to go. Do you have a client in your network who would vouch for you or who could use a little bit of help? If you don't have that kind of reputation, or if you're an asshole to work with and you're like, oh, I got to stop being an asshole, my entire network won't vouch for me, then stop being an asshole and go and find a place where you can start and rebuild your reputation. So that's the first thing. I would just freelance my way into it. But the other thing to think about, and I'm realizing this as I film Soren's team, and as you just kind of look around the industry, I've been in-house for a long time before I did this. So I don't think I was privy to the idea that like studios weren't just doing software design work. There's print, there's like commercials, there's a lot of stuff, and not all studios do that. A lot of studios specialize. But what I would say is like open up your ideas to saying yes to things that you don't have the resources, the capabilities to do yet, and then go partner with people. I was on a podcast like 2 weeks ago, and they said, what do you think is more valuable right now? Audience, partnerships, and then some other thing. And a lot of people would have been like, no, an audience, because then I can distribute any of my ideas and do whatever I want. Partnerships. all day. And I don't just mean like brand partnerships. I mean, like if you and I become partners on a project, Rid and I partner on different projects. I partner with a lot of designers on projects. Partnerships are in like people, when they think of partnerships, they're like, I'm going to go and try to find the biggest fish and get them to invite me into their club. Like, no, dog, go create your own club with a bunch of you who don't have any sort of status or anything. Just make like the statusless club. And then all of a sudden you guys are going to benefit each other and build a really cool little thing where you give back to each other because you're kind, not nice. And then that's going to grow. And now you have status if that's important to you. But, you know, like partnerships, I think, are one of the best ways, productive partnerships, to get, I think, to your next steps.
Yeah. One last question from me before I let you go, dude, because I know you got a busy day, but filming This Is Taste, what has been one of the most memorable moments on the road? Is there one moment that you're just like, that was great. I'll remember that forever. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot, but one moment.
I was in my hotel. I was on like no sleep, calling in smear. I'm in New York, and I had to leave that shoot. It had been like 2 or 3 weeks since I gave birth to. I didn't give birth. Since my partner gave birth to my daughter Nora, and it sucked, man. Like having to leave these situations. Anyway. She's insanely incredible in her support, and I get out there, and because Colin and Smear said yes, and when we had to fly, it was also her freaking birthday, man. And I'm just like, this is like weighing on me. What am I doing? And she's been nothing but supportive, and I'm having these thoughts, and when you're tired, things like impact you more, you know. And so I'm like digging out my bag, and I've gotten into this habit because I do vlog episodes. So I like set up this little Osmo camera sometimes to just film like trash collection, we call it, just to have footage for moments. You never know what's going to come up. And so I'm kind of unpacking, and I'm just like filming stuff that I don't think I'm going to use. And I'm like, oh, my wife packed me snacks, and I'm showing snacks, and like, oh yeah, my favorites, these. And then I pull something out, and I'm like, what's this? And there's this little piece of paper, and she had written me this incredibly heartfelt, inspirational note. And I'm feeling like I need to be there for her, man. And she's just going this extra mile. And I like break down sobbing right there. And it really made me, it just put a lot of things into perspective. And then you collect that on the end of like some of the wisdom that Samir dropped to me. I'm not kidding. This entire project in this year is changing me as a person. And I think that little moment is definitely a spike in that journey.
Amazing, dude. Well, we'll go give her a hug from me and say happy Thanksgiving when you see her next. But is there anything else you want to chat about? Is there something that I didn't mention that you wanna talk about? Anything at all?
What's your level of excitement for this media stuff right now?
I would say it basically ebbs and flows, but right now at this moment, I'm not that excited. I mean, I'm doing this, but that's because I get to speak to people like you, and that's fun. But it's not that exciting. I think all honesty, I think I spent like 5 months away from the laptop this year, and that's great. Right. We traveled, we did a bunch of different things. So I've just been exploring like other things apart from being online, which has been healthy. But I think I'm ready to sort of like get back on the grind because I know I love it and I need to create more things, different things, other things. So, and media is just one part of the engine, if you will. But I think I want to do more things outside of just what I'm doing at the moment. Yeah.
And it's going to be cool, man, because I think there's a lot of, I think the paths are opening up now where you can, and that's what I hope I can, that's what I hope I can show people. It's like, I'm not telling anyone, I stopped using the word should. Like, no, you don't, just because I show it doesn't mean you should do this, but you can. And I think that that's like a really empowering thing, just to see somebody else do something. That's kind of what I'm doing, like to show my kids. Like, I don't know what to tell them, man. Like, I don't know how, yeah, go to school. I don't know if that's a good idea anymore. So I'm like, it used to be a good idea, you know, keep going. And I think at the end of the day, you just have to see people make something happen to believe it can happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's the next best thing to just proving it to yourself. So I hope that I can inspire you. I hope I can inspire a lot of people. You inspire the heck out of me, by the way. You do so much. You're like a true hinterlands adventurer. And I think that's awesome.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, and love the stuff you put out. I love watching what you work. So I'm excited about all the projects and things that you're doing, dude. Again, thank you for coming on so much and taking the time. But I will see you, you know, around.
Hit me up whenever, Chris. Hit me up whenever, man. Like, we haven't talked in a little bit, but I mean, outside of this, hit me up whenever. And
yeah, absolutely, man. All right, man. I'll let you go. And have a good holiday, and eat lots and drink lots, dude. See ya.
Ham is better than turkey. All right. I'll see you. Bye.
Peace, dude. All right, guys. So before we wrap up, I again want to shout out, obviously, Tommy's new episode that he just dropped. This is Taste with the one and only Søren Iversen. If you haven't seen that, please go scan that QR code and watch it and support his work. But if you still need some, I don't know, let's just say tease of like, okay, should I watch this video or not? Let me play you an intro to the first episode with 𝗏. Okay, this is absolutely amazing. Check it out.
There's this breed of designer that is so good at what they make. They basically are the marketing for it.
Nelson Noah.
𝗏𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗍𝘆
Costa. I only know a base dash because of Tom.
I call them tool benders. They'll push whatever tools exist to their limits, then immediately jump on the new ones just to make something dope.
If it's just like lock in, like I'm in Figma, something like 𝗏𝘆cie, for instance. I forgot to run granola. I'm going through the loom and I literally have raycast notes open. Dude, Tolan is so good.
But Michael Rittering, 𝗏, has been talking to the best designers, interviewing them, digging into the tools and workflows they use every day. And while everyone's still processing what's happening right now, dude's already cataloging what's next. And this whole time, he's been one of them. In fact, 𝗏 inspired me to try and spot the next something. But I think that next something is 𝗏. So I flew to Kalamazoo, Michigan to find out. Yeah, Kalamazoo. Population 73,000. I spent 2 days just watching him work, sitting in on how he finds patterns, designers, tools, these dope little design details before they're everywhere. Because 𝗏 is a trend spotter, and I wanted to know, how is he always this early?
All right. Again, guys, go check it out by scanning that QR code or just typing Designer Tom on YouTube. So immediately after this, I'm going to go watch that episode because I haven't seen it yet, but it literally just dropped. But before we go, I want to talk about the next live stream, which is actually next week. It's going to be how to build a research practice. And we're diving into everything research ops, the foundation and infrastructure, okay, let me start again. Operationalizing research and evangelizing research. So if you want to get notified, just go ahead and scan that QR code if it ever comes up. I think I got to hide it for next week's episode. Here we go. Or head to live.uxplaybook.org. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, a quick reminder, of course, of the promo, 50% off. Just enter code FRIDAY25 to get 50% off anything on uxplaybook.org. If you miss this, then you'll have to wait to 2026, the next Black Friday. So I just want to say happy Turkey Day to everybody and enjoy your Black Friday. Get all the deals that you deserve. And I will see you soon. And with that, peace. Bye. This is the design of everyday people.
It sound right, boy.
This is the design of everyday people.
It sound right, boy.